The following program contains explicit candor. If you suffer from self-deception, Randall may not be right for you. Check with your political advisor.
Puff the magic Snowden lived by the sea, Honolulu, and frolicked in the international space in a land called Moscow. He said, I'll meet with Putin. Putin said, come to me. I'll turn your butt over to the NSA and they'll be done with thee.
Standing for truth in the four corners of America. Fighting for justice on the frontiers of the culture wars. And turning resistance into an art form. Randall Terry.
Hello, friend. Edward Scissorhands Snowden is keeping the U.S. government in a frenzy. Will he become a fugitive that gets freedom or a fugitive that ends up behind bars? That depends on Mr. Putin and whether or not Obama honors his threat to scramble jets. But first, a word from the granny.
It's time now for Down Home with Granny Jihad.
Allah da grappa! Children, listen. Muhammad speaks about sneezing and yawning. Yes, Muhammad said Allah likes sneezing and he dislikes yawning. As regards yawning, it is from Satan. So, one must try one's best to stop it. If one says, huh, then Satan will laugh at him. If this is not laughing matter.
Welcome back to the program, friend. We have to spend some time talking about my favorite fugitive, Edward Snowden. As you may know, Glenn Greenwald was the journalist for The Guardian who first broke the story. And you might also notice that Snowden is doing almost no interviews. As of this taping, he is still holed up in the international area of the Moscow airport. Lord only knows how many CIA agents, FBI agents are there in the airport waiting for a chance to nab him, okay? He did say to the Russian leader Putin that he would like to meet with Putin and he would agree to Putin's demand that he not release any more data if the Russians will grant him asylum. He has standing offers right now from Venezuela, Nicaragua, and Bolivia to be granted asylum. The problem is this. You might remember that a couple weeks ago, I believe it was the president of Ecuador was flying over Europe and was denied airspace over France, okay, because they thought that Snowden was on the plane. They didn't have enough fuel to make it, and they had to land, and then the plane was searched to see if Snowden was on it. That was clearly a ruse to see what would happen, all right? I believe that Snowden's people leaked that Snowden would be on that plane to see what European authorities would do to that plane and with that plane as it flew over the airspace of various countries. So what we have now is a situation, forgetting all issues of passports and legal documents. If you take a look at a map, right, put the map up, Lane. Okay, so you can see that he'll have to fly out of Moscow, go north over the Barents Sea, then turn west toward the Greenland Sea, towards Greenland, then head south over the Norwegian Sea, stay between Iceland and Norway, stay to the west of Ireland, and then fly down over the Atlantic Ocean where he could head towards South America. Then, of course, we don't know if the president would do anything like try and force the landing of the plane. Hopefully he won't. Hopefully the president will honor his word that they're not going to scramble jets. Anyway, you're not going to go on a private jet and fly that many miles, you're going to have one of the larger commercial airlines. I literally don't know. It would be a DC-10, an Airbus 300, a 767, a 777. I don't even know. All I know is that somebody is going to have to foot the bill, and somebody is going to have to issue a flight pattern that is completely bizarre, just to stay away rather from those nations in Europe where they might force the landing of the plane so that they could apprehend Mr. Snowden. Now, as I started to say, Glenn Greenwald has been doing a series of interviews with a Brazilian newspaper talking about the fact that the U.S. government is spying on Latin American people. And the way they've been able to do this is that one of the major telephone carriers, the story did not say who, my guess would be AT&T, but maybe it's Verizon, I don't know, that much of the telephonic traffic of South America is connected to a US-based company. And so they're spying on Latin Americans because they have access to the records of an American phone company. And as you can imagine, justly so, this enrages the Brazilians. It enrages other people in Latin America. All right, I'm going to take a break. I think it's called the Dead Man's Pact. All right, we'll talk to you about the Dead Man's Pact and what Greenwald said Snowden has put in place in case anything happens to him. Do you remember that scene in Analyze This where Robert De Niro says, well, I've put a few things in a safety deposit box in case anything happens to me and my family, or Billy Crystal here. What would the world be like without Billy Crystal, I ask you? My wife and I, for 5 years, have been grinding our own wheat and baking our own bread from scratch. Within 2 hours, you can have fresh wheat in your hand and then piping hot bread come out of the oven. The most nutritious and delicious bread you will ever have. And we do it for under $1 a loaf. Call Paula's Bread and find out about this grain mill and the mixer and how it can save you money and change your life. Do you want to get America out of the hands of wicked and unjust men and women who are destroying the republic before our eyes, and put leadership back into the hands of righteous men and women so that we don't die as a nation? Well, you're talking about social revolution, and there are rules in social revolution. We can look at the victorious social revolutions of the past, such as the end of slavery, the end of child labor, women's voting rights, the end of segregation, and so much more, and learn from their victories. Look at their actions, their images, their rhetoric, their sacrifices, and their final fruit. We will send you this series that originally cost $129, 7 books for students, 1 teacher's guide, if you'll give a gift of any size and just pay for shipping and handling. Take advantage of it today. Welcome back to the program, friend. Let's take a look at some of the more juicy quotes from Glenn Greenwald. He's the Guardian journalist who first interviewed Snowden and has been talking to a newspaper it's called La Nación, I believe. That newspaper is in Argentina. This is what he said. Snowden has enough information to cause harm to the U.S. government in a single minute. More information than any other person has ever had. Oh, this one's great. The U.S. government should be on its knees every day begging that nothing happened to Snowden. Because if something does happen to him, all the information will be revealed, and it could be its worst nightmare. So here is what Snowden has done. They euphemistically refer to this as a dead man's pact. If anything should happen to me, this is what I want you to do. So he has enormous amounts of documents. What this story from Greenwald said is that he released the tip of the iceberg because his goal is not to harm the U.S. government. His goal is not to harm U.S. security. His goal is to let the average American know that they are being spied on, that their rights of privacy have been taken away from them completely without their knowledge and without their consent. That is what his goal is. And he made it clear from the beginning. And thus far, it's been several weeks, he has not released any information that we know of that would jeopardize any of our agents in other countries, our double agents working for us in other countries. But God in heaven save us. There's something more dark and more sinister here. All right? We're spying on our own citizens. We're spying on innocent civilians of other countries. Who in the name of creation does our federal government think it is? Who do these people think they are? Obama, who do you think you are? These people that are spying on hundreds of millions of innocent people, do they think that they're God? I mean, if this was done by the Nazis, if this was done by the Chinese communists, if this was done by the Soviet communists, we would all, to the man, be decrying this. This is horrible. This is tyranny. This is treachery. This is oppression. This is the stuff that revolutions are made of. This is the stuff that slave states are made of. Friends, our federal government is doing it. Our federal government, in this moment of time, in this exact arena that we're discussing, has become the bad guy. Our federal government is committing crimes against our own Constitution, against our own citizens, against its allies. Merkel, the head of Germany, sent over the head of her Interior Department to demand answers from American officials, and he returned pretty empty-handed. And now the press is reporting that certain elements of the German spy apparatus were taking advantage of elements of the NSA spying. So this is getting darker by the moment. And Snowden has cut a deal. My guess is that it would be with players that are inside of WikiLeaks. He's cut a deal that if something happens to me, I have taken, thumb drives or whatever they are, and I've placed them with various people. They're encoded, but I will give you the means to decode them so that you can release the data. Basically, he's telling the federal government of the United States, leave me alone, or I'm going to hurt you. I'm going to put you in a world of hurt. And you have to believe that there are elements of the federal government that are saying, we better believe him. We better believe him. And then asking, okay, what do we do? Do we just back off, put a little bit less pressure on Putin and on Russia, look the other way while they allow him to go to Venezuela or whatever? Who knows? But I guarantee you that there are elements inside of this White House right now that are discussing killing him and how they can kill him, and make it look like an accident, how they can just make him disappear, how they can capture him and bring him to trial back here in America. International norms be darned. All right? But I'm telling you, in this moment of time, in this scenario, we're the bad guy. Our government is the bad guy. Our government has become the bad guy. And this is going to come back to haunt us. Some bad things are going to happen to us, people. I'm telling you, we cannot keep going down this path. We can't. I'll be right back. We'll talk more about Snowden. Also, we're going to talk about a family that's lost its mind with their 6-year-old girl. Don't go away. Do you want to have knowledge, wisdom, discernment? If so, you have to read good books, theology, history, books that look at the lives of great men and women. So to help you to become a more effective Christian, a better witness for truth, somebody who can engage in productive conversation that exhorts and edifies those that you speak with, we're going to do something crazy. We're offering you these 7 books for a gift of any size. You just pay for the shipping and handling, and then give whatever gift that you can, and we will send them to you. But just to make it a little bit more crazy, I will send you a second copy of my 3 books, autographed. You can give them as a gift to your pastor or to a family member and help extend truth and justice in the world. This is while supplies last. Welcome back, friend. We'll move on from Snowden in a second, but I want to just say this. Snowden is not the issue. He is not the issue. All right? I hope he gets to freedom. He has done a great service to the average American to let us know that our government is spying on us. All right? This is a crime against the Constitution. I hope he stays a free man. I really do. But I'm telling you, if you have not contacted your 2 U.S. senators and your U.S. House of Representatives, what are you waiting for? All right? Earlier on in this program, a few episodes ago, I actually did it on the air. I called up both U.S. Senate offices and our U.S. House member here from West Virginia and said, we want this program abandoned, and we want an investigation into who authorized this. I hope you have done that. I hope you love liberty more than you love security. God help us all if we don't. Don't bother me. I'm on the air right now. Okay. So, people die. I hate this. I hate the cyber world. I hate the cyber ghetto. I hate it. I'm one of the only hosts in America that tells people when you're done watching this show, go away from your television, go away from your computer if you're watching me online, and get out into the real world and fight. Blogging under anonymous names is not fighting, okay? Can you imagine if Martin Luther King had said, we're going to do a cyber march across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Beware, people. There might be cyber dogs, cyber water cannons. Oh, look, is that a cyber cruiser? And are those cyber handcuffs? I'm going to release my ninja cyber civil rights activist to fight you, George Wallace. Please, people, please, this republic is dying. Let's talk about, God help us. Did you hear about this? This puts insanity in a new light. There is a family in Maryland, okay, that decided, God have mercy on their souls, how they have not had this child taken away from them. They decided that they were going to let their 5-year-old girl decide that she was actually a boy. Okay? Change her name to a boy name, enroll in school as a boy. Right? They've done, thank God, thus far, they've not tried any bizarre surgery. They are discussing, however, whether or not they have to start injecting hormones to suppress the elements of the female body. So when this poor little girl reaches puberty, she's going to begin to develop the curves that are common to women, okay? And the parents are actually discussing with a physician injecting hormones into this child to suppress her mammary glands. This is sick. And what did they, you know what they said? They said, well, the reason that she must be a boy is because, and the parents are going, yep, that's a boy, that the kid likes balls and cars and trucks and pirate swords. Does the phrase tomboy mean anything to anyone anymore? There's a lot of really delightful adult women who will attest when they were girls, they didn't care much for playing with Barbie dolls. They wanted to play the things that boys played with because they found them more interesting. It doesn't make them a boy. We've gone crazy as a culture. We've lost our mind. And thank God for what's happening in Texas. A little itty-bitty thing is happening in Texas with the passing of this law, which Governor Perry is about to sign, that'll basically end late-term child killing in that state. When we come back, I'll read to you some of the more outrageous quotes from the child killers, show you some of what they've done, and then you get to decide who's crazy. And my son keeps asking, Daddy, when did America become so bad? On a daily basis now, my 10-year-old is saying, Daddy, when did America become so bad? How did we become so bad? What do I tell a 10-year-old boy? I tell them how you and I screwed up. I'll be right back. How would you like to be able to reach hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of potential customers with your product or your company or your web-based business. Well, you can do that right here on this show. Every single day, we get phone calls or letters or orders online from states all over the country where people are watching this television show. Right now, we are seen in 45 cities at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time every night, and then a rerun again at 12:30 midnight. You can reach them using this show at advertising rates that are so inexpensive, it would blow your mind. So, if you're interested, contact us at the phone number that you see on the screen or the email address, and we can talk about how you can grow your business and help support this show. Welcome back to the program, friend. I can hear the beautiful, soothing voice of my wife in my head saying, Randall, stay calm. You're a leader. You're a teacher. Stay calm. And then I hear a voice in my head saying, but I don't want to stay calm. I'm really worked up about this. But being a good husband, I will allow the prudence of my wife to prevail. So, when the hearings were going on before the House and the Senate passed this bill in Texas, you had a bunch of baby killers carrying coat hangers saying, Hail Satan. They had coat hangers with them, tampons, jars of fetuses and urine, F blank the church, just outrageous, vulgar behavior. But at least they're admitting that they are in league with hell and with death. All right? So you choose who are the American terrorists. They always want to say that we pro-lifers are terrorists. We're not the terrorists. We're not terrorizing babies. We're not the ones who have participated in the brutal murder of over 50 million innocent human beings. We're dying as a culture, people. We're dying. And now you listen to me these last couple minutes because I intend with very calm tones. Lane, I'm going to be calm. I'm going to look to the calm camera. And now in the calm camera, I'm going to challenge you. The reason that this country is dying is because Christian men and women have abandoned the heritage and squandered the sacrifices that were given to us by our Christian forebears. If you look at the sacrifices of Patrick Henry and George Washington, the signers of the Declaration, the young men who risked their lives so that we could have a Christian republic. If you look at their sacrifices and what they gave us, which was almost unheard of in the history of the human race, and you look at how we have squandered it in the last 2 generations, we have only ourselves to blame. You can turn on Christian radio, you can turn on Christian television, any day of the week, and this network is the exception. And you can find bouffant hairdos and people talking about how that God Almighty exists to give you personal peace and prosperity and wealth and health. It's a gospel of personal satisfaction and peace. Maybe a little bit on how to manage your family. But listen closely to what's not being said. Listen for the silence on the cry to battle, the trumpet of alarm. Listen closely for the lack of people saying, we have got to throw people like Obama out. Instead, about half of Catholics voted for Obama. About a third of evangelicals voted for Obama because of the silence of our leaders. The Christian community in America has squandered the liberties and the justice of this country for self-pleasure, and we have voted, when we voted all, for our pocketbooks, not for human life, not for liberty, not for justice, and we're dying because of it. And until we turn around in our own behavior, not just our thoughts and our prayers, but in our behavior in the public square, until we turn around, this nation is going to perish. you.